Hello, beautiful people. How are you? Are you well? I do hope so. How the dickens are you? I'm the dickens, fine, thank you. Wonder where that phrase comes from. I'm not sure. Let's not digress straight away. So, hoopla, there's my little book of notes. I'm going to just lift your wall up a bit. I feel like I'm looking down my nose at you. That's better. It feels like ages since I've had a kind of time out, little moment, little chat from the flat. A chat from the flat. That's because this month has been bonkers busy. What's new? But look, it's been pretty busy because there's been lots going on in the garden. Okay, I missed kind of pretty much a week of gardening because of my back, which is fine, thank you. But during that week, I cracked on with a load of other stuff. So, in a way, September has already been a month of two halves. A week of doing other stuff, mostly quite boring, and then a week of garden. Preserve the food, preserve the food, preserve the food. Save seeds, save seeds, save seeds. It's that time of year, isn't it? So, there hasn't been much time for just sitting and having a chat. But today, I'm making time because I've had a bit of a runaround day, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And I've been trying to organise my days for the last 2.5 weeks. I've been trying to organise my day so that for things that I'm doing outside of the home, ostensibly gardening, I'm still doing a little bit of volunteering in the neighbourhood that came out of the COVID thing, although a lot of people aren't needing that help now, but a few I'm carrying on with a couple of them. So I'm trying to do all those outside of my home stuff by about noon, 1 o'clock, so that in the afternoon I can do work at home whilst listening to the Tour de France. I've been loving it this year. It's made a huge difference having to not have my favourites in. So no Chris Froome, no Geraint Thomas. Of course, Mr. Yates, he's been doing great. It's been fab to follow him. But yeah, for me, it's been so open. I've just really loved the excitement of it all. The races within the races. But it's coming to an end in the next couple of days. So on Sunday, I shall enjoy the beautiful views of Paris at the end of the race. Can't wait. And then, also really excited, I can't remember what date it starts. I think it's a week after the end of the Tour de France. We get Roland Garros. Oh, can't wait for a bit of tennis. I think it's going to be really weird because, as I understand it, they're not going to have crowds. They're not going to have spectators. You know, part of what I love about tennis is that roar of the crowd. It's like the Colosseum. It's like they're cheering their favourite gladiators, and it really, really adds to the atmosphere of watching a match. So, I'll have to be a one-person screaming thing, one-person crowded stadium, you know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And what's great is that by the time Roland Garros comes on, of course there's no real time difference for us in the UK for me to be able to listen live to matches. Because of course we've had no coverage of the US Open, other than in newspapers. I don't buy newspapers, so I haven't got a clue what's been going on at the US Open. Probably what I'll do one evening just before Roland Garros starts, I might go online and just kind of catch up on what happened at the US, just so I can know who's on form, who's not, what to expect. I'm so excited, it's ridiculous, I know. But the great thing is, I'm getting comfy, and you see behind me, this is all, this is loads of fabric, all sorts of different fabrics here. I don't know how well you can see. This is my stack of fabrics that I just got ready to start making masks out of. In fact, not that, that's more for my shed, that's for my other shed cushion, but Yeah, you can see this. Oh, it's a bit of a tangle. This piece, you can see, this was the one I started. So that's the inside, and that's the outside of my mask. That's the mask I managed to make myself before my sewing machine went kaput. So this is what I'm coming back to Roland Garros and my excitement. My machine should be ready in 2 to 3 weeks. They're hoping 2 weeks. Oh, they finally got through their backlog. So ostensibly I wanted to have it serviced, but I also felt anyone who sews with a machine, anyone who's been using the same machine for ages will know what I'm talking about now. You get to know the feel of your machine. I suppose it's probably like driving a car. I don't know, because I've never driven a car, but you know, it's that thing of the sound changes a little bit. Or, you know, when you're moving your needle up or down, you're getting your needle in position and it just feels a bit stiff or something. Well, so yes, I decided it needed a service anyway, but then just in the last couple of weeks or so, I felt like the needle was out of alignment or something. I broke a couple of needles. I never break needles, that's weird. One of them actually hit the foot. It's damaged the foot, so I'm having a replacement foot. And also, you know the teeth underneath that sort of grip and take the fabric through. I kind of felt I was fighting it. It was trying to take it off to askew. Anyway, yeah. So all of that, there's some replacement part. So it's going to be a bit more expensive than I initially thought, but it's still within my budget that I'd set aside for it and that I've saved up for, and I have in a separate little savings account to safeguard my source of income, because that's what it is. I won't tell you, maybe I will. Oh. So there's a plate on sort of underneath where the needle comes down, that plate that's got the bobbin holder in it, all that. That was taken off. Oh, it was a mess in there. It was a mess of dust, so compact. So when I do get it back, I'm going to learn some basic maintenance. I've been rubbish at that, which is kind of unusual for me because I'm really good at looking after my things to make them last. So yeah, machine back in a couple of weeks at best, 3 weeks at worst. So that gives me great incentive to, you know, crack through a load more of these tedious jobs, because literally when I get that sewing machine back, I want to be on it. If I'm not in the garden, I want to be on the machine. I want to be making things so that I can sell things, so I can try and make up for some of this lost income that's occurred this year, which has been pretty darned difficult. So yeah, where are we? What month are we in? September now. So if I sew like mad in October and November, hopefully I have things back in the shop. I know a lot of folk have been asking about lavender bags because they make nice Christmas presents. So, I see, that's one of the things I can do in the next 2 weeks. I'm looking at them. I've got some over there, I've got some here, I've got some outside drying on the landing, loads more in the shed. Get my lavender processed, because there's probably at least a whole day's worth of processing to do. That will be really good. So yeah, I haven't done a lot of the things that way back at the beginning of August I said I would like to do in the absence of having my sewing machine. Excuse me. But you know what? That's okay, because all this other stuff that I have been doing needed doing, and it's the sort of stuff that I just have kept putting off because it hasn't been a priority, in terms of it hasn't been either providing me with food or providing me with a bit of income. So yeah, put off. And frankly, now that I'm kind of exploring all those things, a lot of them are things where I'm thinking, I'm kind of kicking myself for not tackling some things earlier. Some of them actually, they were priorities. Look, the bottom line is this, I do struggle for time. I struggle with time, for time. I'm doing everything on my own, of course. I'm not having a pity party. Don't need anyone's pity, thank you very much, for anyone jumps down my throat for that. But yeah, I do everything on my own. So most days I'm up at 7 and I'm a bit like, don't talk to me. I'm completely unproductive for the first hour of each day. Don't do anything. Don't function, can't function, hate the world. But, excuse me. But from about 8 o'clock, I crack into my work, whatever my work is in that moment. And I pretty much keep going until 10 o'clock at night. And that's every day, every single day, 7 days a week. Sometimes I stop to cook. Quite often I don't. I'll survive on leftovers for days and days and days. It's crazy. So not getting these other things done has not been out of laziness or because I'm sitting around doing nothing. It's just because my days are so full with all the other stuff. So yeah, haven't done half of the things I wanted to, but I've managed to do quite a few of the things I needed to. There's still a couple of need tos on the list. I'm going to prioritise those at the beginning of next week because I'd really, really, really now like to get them off my to-do list. When I do, I might have a glass of champagne because they've been on the list so long. Oy vey. Never mind. Obviously now I've got my shop up and running again. And in the last couple of days, I've been finding some more bits and pieces. They won't be in the shop just yet because now I have to find time. It's always the way. Things will need to be weighed, measured, cleaned, polished, buffed, photographed, uploaded, described, etc., which normally takes me. I'm just looking because they're all over there. I want to give you a sneak peek of Can I give you a sneak peek of a couple of things I've found for the shop? I'll show you. Hang on just a tick. Oh, my legs. These are so lovely. Opla. Yeah, so even, doing the shop. I love having my little shop again. And I think eventually what I'd like for my shop is I'll still do all the little bits. Can you hear the rattling china? I'll still do all those little bits and pieces I do, and the books. I love selling books, and the little bits of household linens. Lovely bits to go in linens as well. But it will gradually become more focused on my sewn pieces because I love doing them. 1. 2, there's a bit of profit in it for me. Great. I mean, not a huge amount. Anyone who is a crafter and sells their crafting products will know that if we were paid the national minimum wage per hour for our work, we'd never sell our work. No one would buy it. If I was paid the minimum wage for my bunting, let's say I sell a 2.5 metre length of bunting for 20 quid. If I was to get national minimum wage for it, it would cost over £40. No one would do it. Anyway, digressing. I'm a bit giddy today. I'm having a good day. It's a real mixed bag day. I've been running around. The weather is gorgeous at the moment. Actually, yesterday, or was it the day before? Last couple of days anyway, I've had to be back in the garden watering because it's been so hot again. We've had a couple of days at 30 degrees. Ground is bone dry. The only time I could do my watering, was it yesterday? Doesn't matter. It was about 11:30 in the morning I started. Took me a couple of hours, so I finished at 1:30. I was dripping with sweat. I was like, hang on a minute, we're back to the beginning of August. Crazy. The heat has gone down a little bit, so now this is what we would consider a hot day in the summer, a normal summer. So it's 26, 27 degrees, really sunny, really bright, beautiful. And like I said, most of today I've been out and about gadding. Oh, I mentioned that as well in a second. I had an appointment this morning that I've been putting off for ages, so went and dealt with it. But it's been lovely to be out and about in this gorgeous weather. Don't know how long it'll last. How did I get onto that? I don't know. Anyway, so a couple of little things. Now, like I said, things aren't going to go into the shop until... When will I get this done? I might get it done Sunday. If I don't get it done Sunday, it won't happen on Monday because Monday is my community day around here. It might be Tuesday. Anyway, oh, look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? It's the Emma Bridgewater Primula half-pint mug. I love her stuff. Absolutely love it. They're highly collected. Any of you who collect Emma Bridgewater will know. Beautiful. And they're not cheap. This is not going to be a bargain. Well, it's going to be a bargain if you know the value of Emma Bridgewater, but they're expensive items. So I think these retail for about anywhere between £20 and £25. I'll probably have it in the shop for £12.50. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Look at that, how pretty. Delightful. But this, oh my goodness, I love this. This is, I can't decide whether it's 30s or 50s. I think it's 30s. I had to look up the maker's mark because it's so, the colours are so of the time. Right, let me show you the profile of it first. Wobble, wobble, wobble. I don't want to drop it. Isn't that gorgeous? Little soup bowl. And then, drop it, Vivi. You see these beautiful, beautiful design on it. Isn't that just gorgeous? I love it, I love it, I love it. I found it and, see, this is the problem when I'll just show you that again because it's so lovely that look at that beautiful flaming leaves. The problem is I find things for the shop and then by the time I get it home, I've fallen in love and I want to keep it. And I was thinking that would be gorgeous to sit on the middle of the table with olives, if you're having that kind of evening. Or, scoop of ice cream, stewed fruit and custard, just like Grandma used to make. Or, of course, put soup in it. But it's such a pretty thing. Yeah, couldn't resist it. So, mad, mad, busy times. Okay, so just quickly, today... I had to go for an appointment this morning. It's not anything I want to discuss with you all. It's private. It's sort of routine-ish for me. Everything is fine. Please don't anybody start to be worrying and please don't anyone try to second guess me. So I was scheduled to have this appointment back in April, just after lockdown happened. So... Well, it wasn't cancelled as such. I was given the option, so I decided, no, I'm staying home. I'm not going anywhere. I've been offered it a couple more times since, and I've kept saying, no, 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 not going out, not going out. But it's got to the point where, frankly, we don't know how long things are going to be like they are. And... you know, this situation we're currently in, you know, and I'm not being doomy or gloomy about this, but it could go on for months and months and months. You know, it could go on for a couple of years. Who knows? We just don't know. So I decided, actually, you know what? I'm going to try to start to, I was going to say be normal. It's not about being normal, but just start to... wherever it's safe to do so, oh, there's my door slamming, just try and get back into, or get back on top of some of these things. Now, the reason I was tentative as well is because it's quite away from me. It's about 5 miles or so, and it requires 2 buses. There's no direct bus, there's no direct train. The trains are definitely emptier than the buses. So I've been really, really nervous about using public transport. I haven't wanted to. You know, initially I felt really strongly that unless you absolutely had to use public transport, don't. Leave it for those people who have to go to work. you know, our doctors, our nurses, our healthcare workers, all these people who actually do have to go to work still to keep us all well. Anyway, so yeah, I decided to bite the bullet and do that this morning. And it was, you know, it was great. I was nervous getting on that bus, but the driver was fantastic. On the buses themselves, there are certain seats which have been barricaded off. They've got tapes across saying, you know, do not sit here. That was being observed. Everyone on the bus was observing the mask rule and distancing. The driver was great. I just felt like, it was amazing. I felt like he really, really had our safety as his priority. He announced at one point, he, you know, pressed his little speaker to say there were a couple of people standing in the aisle, and he said, you need to move upstairs, you're standing too close to the other passengers, and that was great. They went upstairs. Someone tried to get on the bus without a mask, and he said, no, you have to wear your mask. So it's really good. It seemed that everyone was very disciplined about it, and put it this way, I felt as safe being on the bus as I have done in any of the shops. In fact, safer, because once I'd sat down and I'd got my bag next to me, I was actually further away from anyone on the bus than I ever have been in any of the shops I go to. So that was great. But what was really lovely for me, and I suppose in a way maybe it's the subject of today's chat, is make the most of whatever your situation is. Because as I went for this bus ride, well, 2 buses, I went further than I've been since the end of February, apart from that birthday treat when Richard and Paul kidnapped me and took me to their house. That was kind of different because we were in a private car, they're my social bubble, you know, so we can be up close and personal. And because we were gas bagging in the car, it was like an hour and a quarter drive over from my house to their house. We were like talking the whole way. Excuse me. I didn't even notice the surroundings particularly. So what made today lovely was, it was almost like being on a holiday, being on a day trip, going exploring. It was lovely to just sit and look out of the windows on the bus and, you know, see old familiar streets that I haven't seen for months. Part of the route goes to the village, 3 or 4 over from me, where I go for my fabric shopping. So yeah, these familiar roads that I haven't seen for months and months. And as we drive through each of the sort of village centres to see, oh, there's a new shop has opened, the new haberdashery has opened, oh my goodness. And it's about a 5-minute walk, actually with my knees, maybe an 8-minute walk from my fabric shop. So going there. A haberdashery shop, for those who don't know, because I've mentioned it a couple of times on Facebook and people say, what is a haberdashers? What's a haberdashery? It's the shop, the kind of shop that sells all the stuff to do with sewing, essentially to do with sewing, that's not fabric. It's a shop just for thread, buttons, lace, ribbons, patches, poppers, press studs, rivets, zips, bias binding, you name a product you might need when you're sewing, that's what a haberdasher sells. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. So when I saw it, I didn't notice it on my outbound journey. I only noticed it on my homebound journey, and there was a fraction of a second where I was about to press the bus to stop so I could get off and go and have a look. But I thought better of it. A, because by then my knees were a bit hurty, but also I thought, well, I don't really want to, I haven't got money to spend at the moment until I've done a whole load more sewing, got that in the shop and sold, and that'll then give me a budget to go fabric shopping with again for the next lot of sewing. Oh, I can't wait to explore it. You know, it just felt great to, you know, obviously I've been out and about in my own little neighbourhood, in my own village. I've certainly not been cooped up for the last 6 months in that respect. But it was just lovely today seeing, you know, London is such a mixed bag. And my borough is a particularly mixed bag. And it's a mixed bag both in terms of sort of architecture, in terms of buildings. We've got our lovely 2 up, 2 down yellow brick cottages, London yellow brick. They're not actually bright yellow, it's more like cream that fades and weathers beautifully. So we go from our little workers 2 up, 2 down cottages, which are gorgeous, and then these modern, sleek blocks of flats that are being built. And the area I live in is it's one of the poorer parts of London, but there's also some, within the borough, there's some really rich, huge big villa houses still. So it's a mixed bag in terms of the architecture. Culturally, people-wise, it's a massively mixed bag, and it's one of the things I adore about where I live. Probably pretty much, I think, every culture under the sun is mostly within my neighbourhood, but in the borough as a whole, because where my appointment was within the borough. So it was just lovely looking out of the window and just seeing all these wonderful different faces, all the different clothes. It's funny, isn't it? The clothes, they almost make us into tribes. Oh, look, there's a couple of goths standing at the bus stop. We go through an area where one of our major art schools is. So the streets surrounding it, where there's cafes and stuff, the art students are all hanging out. It's like, oh, there's another little gorgeous tribe. You can tell just from looking at their clothes. The West African women in their amazing colours, fantastic. Teeny tiny, the Somalian women are always really, really teeny tiny. So yeah, it was lovely to feel, I just felt like I'd come home. Does that sound daft? Because I haven't been anywhere, but I just haven't experienced that real sort of chaotic vibrancy that is London. I haven't had that for so long. It was just lovely to just gaze out of the window and see it, soak it all up again. It's brilliant. Yeah, definitely felt like I was on holiday and I was taking a day trip to somewhere I've never experienced before and trying to get my head around what is the culture of this place, because it seems to be every single culture you can imagine. Brilliant. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Make the most of what you've got. You know, you might normally want to have your 2-week holiday in, I don't know, Mexico, Thailand, wherever it is. Can't get away? Just explore where you live. But explore it with fresh eyes. Enjoy the people around you. Enjoy the buildings around you. Find a new green space near you to explore. Fabulous. I'm excited. Fantastic, fabulous, all of that. Right, I promised myself, I'm looking at the clock, I don't know what time I started. I promised myself this was going to be a quickie today. So yes, just a little catch up from a quite excited Vivi. Don't know why. I do know why. I'm excited because the tennis is coming on. I've got a new sewing shop to look at. My sewing machine's going to be back in a couple of weeks. That massively incentivises me to crack on with all these outstanding jobs. That excites me because the prospect of not having them on my to-do list anymore is brilliant. I'm excited to get new stock into my shop because I've got some really gorgeous pieces. There's so much in life to be excited about, isn't there? Even when you're feeling a little bit tired from all the late night bottling sessions. There'll be more of that soon as well. Right, so on that note, I'm going to say, I wasn't thinking about what to say then. I'm going to say cheerio. I am saying cheerio. Cheerio! I was just trying to think about when we will see each other again. What's happening next? I don't know what day it is, so why would I know what's happening next? Oh, I know. It'll be in the garden next time you see me. I've actually filmed the video already. It's from yesterday, day before, whenever. So yes, I'll see you in the garden next time, probably tomorrow. So yeah, see you tomorrow in the garden. Until then, make the most of what you've got and find some excitement today. Bye, lovelies. See you tomorrow.